A children's Bible sitting on a bookshelf gathering dust introduced our guest today to Jesus. Hi, I'm Nancy Turner. I'm so glad you're here, and you are really in for a special, real-life story of a young Hindu girl from the eastern part of India. Her name is Satabdi Banerjee. This is a Christmas story. Growing up, Satabdi's family would visit temples worshiping idols. Considered a very ardent and religious Hindu family, Satabdi, at the young age of 2, was taught how to meditate to the Hindu gods, believing that all religions lead to the same path. She learned that celebrating all religious holidays, even Christmas, was acceptable. But that all changed for her when she became friends with a Catholic girl during high schools. Stay tuned to hear this incredible story of one woman's journey to seek out the truth and what it cost her and where it's led her. Here's where we're going to go, because this is what's going to be so interesting to actually hear what happened. This is where it's going to bring it home. Because you celebrated Christmas, you even had a little Bible. You had a little Bible in your house. Now, why did your mom buy that Bible and give that to you?
So what happened was, since we were celebrating all the religions, like all the religious festivals, we also celebrated Christmas. And when we celebrated Christmas, we used to have the picture of Jesus, which was like, you know how Roman Catholics have the small pictures where Mary, Joseph, and baby Jesus is there, or other pictures like that. We used to put like garlands around that photo, and we would sing, we would keep a cake instead of bread. We would offer coffee instead of wine, and we would put toffees, and we would have like Santa Claus give us gifts. Like when we were young, all mothers and parents, they always want their kids to have gifts. So I received that gift. Other years, I would receive other things, but when I was very young, like maybe in class 4, my mother had given me a children's Bible, and when she gave me as a Santa Claus gift, and when she gave me that, it was almost like one of the other books she used to buy for me. She used to buy me Tell Me Hows and encyclopedias and everything.
Or fairy tale books.
That's how I...
Yeah, like fairy tale books.
Exactly. It was a fairy tale book for her.
So during high school, there was a friend who was Catholic. And what happened with that?
So it was kind of like, I was still class 10. I was studying in this Hindu school. And when I was studying in this Hindu school, I did not know any Christians till then. But every year I used to receive like the Gideon's New Testament from the school, but I never read it. I used to stack it up, give it off to people if necessary.
The school, the school handed out a Gideon's Bible?
No, from the school means like the Gideons used to come, and in the school they used to give out New Testaments to all the students.
Interesting. Okay, so go on. So you had the Gideon's Bible.
I had the Gideon's Bible, but I never cared to open it. And I had the children's Bible, which I never cared to open too. But when I went to class 10, and I later wanted to take up science, but the Lord had different will. I took up commerce. Like commerce is basically what in here you would call accounting. So I took up accounting, and in my Hindu school, they dropped maths out of the subject group of accounting, and that made me to change the school, and I went to a Methodist school. So when I went to this Methodist school, like there were no believers in my class. There was, however, this Roman Catholic girl whom I became friends with. And that's how I started thinking, okay, I know about Hinduism, what my religion talks about God, but what do Christians think about God? Because all religions are same. So what do they think? And so just to make, just to understand her, because she was my best friend. So just to understand her, what I did was I started reading the children's Bible, and my mom always used to nag also. Before I joined, between the gap of class 10 and 11, there is usually a 3-month gap, and my mom is like, you never read the book I bought for you, this children's Bible. What do I do with it? You can just read it, and at least some value of the money is, I can get it out. So she used to keep nagging me. So to stop her mouth and also to understand my friend, I thought I'll just read this Bible.
Yes.
And I read this children's Bible. I did not understand a word, I tell you. I was like, okay, what is this? I don't understand. It was like just the stories with pictures,
Uh-huh.
and I'm like, I don't know what I read. But
Yeah.
I just told my friend, just to make her happy. I told her, hey, I read the Bible and I like the stories. But I started feeling really guilty because number one, I did not understand anything. Number two, I did not even read the real Bible. And I started feeling like so guilty. And I'm like, oh, and like as I was feeling guilty, in couple of days in that school, the Gideons came and they distributed New Testament. And I thought, hey, this is the way out. I'm going to read the New Testament, and that way my word will become true. And, as Hindus, we are so righteous, we want to be true. We don't want to tell lies and everything.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, in this way, I can justify myself, kind of.
Yeah. So you read the New Testament.
I started reading the New Testament, and I went through Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and I thought, Jesus is like one of our gurus. He taught good things, he did good things, and bad things always happen to good people, so people put him to the cross.
Okay.
And he was like, okay, his teachings were more authentic. Like even like the guru that we had, that was Ramakrishna, he also taught and he kind of like copied some of the ways that Jesus taught, and like his disciple Swami Vivekananda, who came to Chicago and preached in the World Religious Conference and introduced Hinduism to Western world, to U.S. And he kind of like read the Bible, and he adopted a lot of Christianity and Buddhism and incorporated into Hinduism.
Really?
Yep. And that's why like he would preach against idol worship or stuff like that. He would preach like be man, make man. So he kind of like tried to incorporate a lot of Christianity and Buddhism into Hinduism and reform it in that way.
Okay.
So I thought, yeah, but you know what? Jesus was the source of all those teaching.
Jesus was the source of it, but at this time you're still thinking, well, he's another one of the nice guys.
Yes.
The good guys.
He was just one of the good gurus. That
gurus.
And in Hinduism, this is the main verse of Gita, which says is, if I tell you in Sanskrit, I don't know, probably you won't understand it. So I can paraphrase it to you. It says like God comes in different times, in different ways, to destroy the wicked and establish the righteous.
So you figured that Jesus was just another one of those ways.
Yes. So I thought that he came in that time because people were evil, and therefore he had to come and to teach the right thing, the right way to God.
Well, it all sounds plausible, right? I mean, it all sounds kind of logical, okay?
Yeah.
But somehow something about it, something happened to make that not seem so right.
Yes. So what happened is I just kept reading the New Testament, went through Acts, did not understand anything, went to the book of Romans, and the Lord caught me.
He caught you.
Yes, he literally caught me. So I read chapter 1. It was like all this, like just from verse 16 on, people have become, people think that they are wise, but they have become fools. And I'm like, I think myself to be wise, but I know I do a lot of foolish things. I make a lot of mess. And then it starts with, how people changed the glory of God and made and transformed into corruptible images of beasts or man or whatever. And I'm like, that's exactly what we are doing.
Yeah.
In India, we worship thousands of gods. And who gave me the right to say how God should look like?
Yeah.
If he will have blue eyes. If I can't tell if my mother is dark skinned, she's tall. I can't, and she's very thin. I don't have a right to say that, hey, Mom, I don't want you to be like that. I want you to be fair with blue eyes and blonde hair.
Yeah.
I can't say that. I don't have that right.
Yeah.
So I thought that who gave us the right to decide how God will look like? And I am changing the glory of God, who is invisible. I'm making him visible. I'm changing the entire nature, how he should be. And I'm like, that's not right. And then I went through how, the result of that was a lot of corruption in mankind, where you came into a lot of sins like disobedience to parents and, slanderers, gossipers, and, man changing their own nature, their own desires, and burning in their own desire, lust.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's exactly what happened to my society.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, how can this book, which is written 2,000 years ago, talk about today?
So this was different. This all of a sudden, right at this juncture, where you're questioning and you're saying, I see these writings reflecting what's going on in the world today. How did that happen?
Exactly.
That didn't compare with what you had been brought up with believing.
No, I never read a book or never read. Like the Hindu gods and goddesses, they're like stories. Okay, it happened this thing and that thing, and those are stories, but this is reality.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, and I can see it all around.
Yeah.
Like anybody reading Romans chapter 1, it is impossible that they would deny that, okay, this is exactly what is the condition of our world today. And then I went to chapter 2. So I was like, okay, my society is not following God. And I went to chapter 2. Chapter 2 is talking about like how Paul is condemning the religious leaders. Like they are blind, leading other people into blind, others who are blind. And I was like, okay, this is exactly what we as like the religious leaders of Hinduism, we are doing. Like who gave us right to decide that we are the best? Who told that the person, like, as Brahmins, we never touch the people who sweep our houses.
Yes.
We throw the money on their hand. We don't touch them.
Yeah.
So I said that who gave us right to do that? Who said that that person has a lesser value? We are blind and we are leading other people into destruction.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so my society is fallen. Now my community is fallen. And I came to chapter 3. And it was like from Romans chapter 3 verses 10 onwards, there's no one righteous, no, not one. Everybody has gone astray in their own path. And like from head to toe, it seems I am in sin. Like it talks about how in my head there is sin. In my hands I have committed sin. In my legs, through my legs I have committed sin. And I'm like, if God is holy, how can he accept me?
Yeah.
I have been worshipping, I was growing up in this Brahmin family, and my birthday was on the birthday of Ramakrishna. I was super religious. Mm-hmm. I was, doing fasting without drinking water from the age of 6.
Oh, yeah.
I was, I would not allow my family to miss even one worship of the idols. And that to not just missing it, I would want them to do it in a grand way. Like making, we offered a lot of food to the idols. That means like we would make rice and lentils, and we will make into a tight food, it's like a lentil curry,
mm-hmm.
And we would offer that to the idols and with fruits and flowers. And I would ask everybody to come to our house and be partaker of that worship. And I was like, what did I do all that for? And from 2 years age, I was doing meditation. And I'm like, I did all that, and if God is holy, how can he accept me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No matter what the ritual I'm following in my religion. Yeah. If God is holy, he cannot accept me knowing that I am a sinner.
So you were learning. There was something you were beginning to know, but you were mm-hmm. also feeling things at this time. What were you feeling when you were learning this?
I was feeling I was feeling overwhelmed. I'm like, what was I doing all my life? It was like my whole life was a waste. Yeah. And I'm like, I cannot reach God.
This is just
impossible.
It's amazing because here you are in your culture, in your country, mm-hmm. with your family. And mm-hmm. it's as if God just reached down and grabbed you and said, mm-hmm. look, this is the time for you to see me.
Yeah.
And you had been a seeker your whole life from the time you were 2, obviously. You were seeking. And he mm-hmm. was just waiting till the right time. So mm-hmm. you begin to read, you become convicted. Mm-hmm. What happened after this conviction occurred in your life?
So, and then I'm like, okay, I cannot reach God. So I kept reading, however, just like I was reading, I did not understand Romans chapter 4 because I had no idea who was Abraham or David.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came to chapter 5, and that was it.
That was it, she says.
That was it. That the Lord got me there. It was like, scarcely for a righteous man one would even die. Perhaps for a godly man one would even dare to die. But God demonstrated His love towards us in that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. And I was like, wow. How can that be? I mean, how can God love me so much?
Uh-huh.
There's no way. And here was God who created me, who loved me to the point. Because in Hinduism, if you remember the sloka, the God should come down and destroy the wicked and establish the righteous. I knew I was not righteous.
Right.
How can? But here God did not come to destroy me, but He came to love, save me, and He died Himself instead of me.
You're going to make me cry. I'm sitting here and I'm feeling it over again, the magnitude of what Christ did, what God did.
Mm-hmm. And I remembered all that I read that time from Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and how people scourged Him and hit Him and put the thorn of crowns on His head and spat on Him. I'm like, that I should have got that. Yeah. And I'm like, how can God love me that He could die for me on the cross?
Instead of God's coming down to destroy you because you were so unrighteous, God came down to save you, to love you, to rescue you, to elevate you to a position of loved and cherished.
Yeah. And I have never seen, all the religions talk about God loving, but there is no demonstration of it. But here, God demonstrated His love. There is no religion where God demonstrates His love.
How did your family take this?
So what I did was as I was reading the Bible, it was so funny because I realized that this is the truth, and my Roman Catholic friend, because the Lord changed the event in her life, she had to go off. So I had no idea, no Christian contact, and she was not even saved that time. And later we used to go and we used to have Bible studies in our home, and later she accepted the Lord, in her time. But that time I had no knowledge of a Christian, and I would just keep reading the Bible all the time because I knew this was the truth, and I would not study. And my grades fell down, my parents turned against me, my teacher turned against me. She challenged me in class. She would scold me publicly in class, and my family thought this Roman Catholic girl kind of brainwashed me.
Yeah.
And so they were upset with her, and they were like, we shouldn't have changed that school. Even till now, my father says that. It was a mistake changing that school. So, and that school I did not have any. I did not know the Lord from being in that school. The Lord just worked it out for me, and using my mother's Bible.
I know, that's the other thing that I love about this. Your mom insisted you read the Bible.
Yeah, I would not have read it had she not been nagging me.
Yeah,
but the Lord, how sovereign is He? He changed schools. He made my mother, unbelieving mother, to make me to read the children's Bible, which kind of forced the event so that I had to read the real Bible and got saved.
So you didn't have anybody you could talk to, right?
No, I did not have anyone. And then my father and other people started saying that, oh, you have forgotten, you're calling your auntie as your mother. You're not giving respect to your own God. You're calling somebody else's God as your God. And they started mocking me. And there was a big gulf. And what happened was there was this time when there was a festival where all our family members would come together and we would worship the idol. So they called me. I went and I sat down, and the Lord brought back that verse to me. You cannot have two masters. You cannot put your leg on two boats and swim. Either if you have two masters, either you love one and you will hate another. And all those verses just came flying back to me, and I'm like, I cannot do both. either I worship the Lord and stand for Him, or I give up on Him.